Hi, everybody. We're very random tonight. It's Brewski,
And Patty.
And Jeremy.
and we're all gonna do stuff now.
Just
All right.
stuff.
We're just gonna do stuff. There's no point to this whatsoever. Move on with your lives. Click away. No, I'm kidding.
No,
Uh,
wait, don't.
yeah, I know.
Lend your eyes, lend your ears. Please come over here. Listen to these nerds as they talk.
God, you should have been on Broadway. All right.
Maybe
Put that like
maybe an
right
off
now.
off Broadway showing of Cats.
Yeah, like if you ordered Broadway on Wish. Oh
Oh God.
no.
Wish.com Broadway, Patrick.
Yep, that's right.
Well, we are taking up a little bit of a different topic that is going to be tabletop related, but we've obviously, with the release of Boltgun and a few other things lately, we wanted to talk video games related to tabletop games and all the ramifications thereof. Because obviously, it's a question of, does the video game enhance the IP of the game? Does it get people into it? Do people who play the tabletop then get into the computer console games, that kind of thing? There's tons to talk about on the subject. So, um, hmm, where to lead
Yeah.
off here?
So I mean the question came up yesterday because I think GW Warhammer, they did their Warhammer Skulls event, which is they do like an online show about all of the Warhammer themed video games that are coming out. And every once in a while, in between the different ads, they'll do a quick um advert for the tabletop. And
I
it's just
believe,
interesting.
did they not
Yeah.
release a named character from the last Space Marine game as a miniature
They did
that they
Titus.
previewed?
Titus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Titus will be on a sprue in a Barnes and Noble I think exclusive
Oh,
board game.
well, that makes me sad. Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
Boo. Boo on you, Games Workshop.
It's pretty par for the course for them because they've actually released a couple of good ones. But I
I,
usually catch them when they go on their like
I've bought
last chance bookshelf and they're like $12.
I've bought almost all those Games Workshop games that come in Barnes and Nobles. So they like what are they? They had their version of Underworlds, which had the Stormcast Eternals versus the Ghost guys. What are they called? The
Night Haunt.
Night Haunt. There you go.
Yep. Oh, yeah, that's
Both
the commission I did.
both of the two Space Marine games that they put out, where the one you're fighting orcs and the other one you're fighting Necrons. Uh, Combat Arena, which is some of the characters from uh the
Rogue Trader,
what it was a
right?
combination. It wasn't Rogue Trader, it was the they're from the
Death Watch.
no, the Warhammer Quests in space, Blackstone Fortress. There we go.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
there we
yeah.
go.
So you had four or five of the characters from that in that one. I bought it for the gameplay and then gave the miniatures to my brother because I actually had those characters already. I didn't need doubles of them.
Right.
And I think there's one more game that
They
I got
had
from.
they did have one that was basically like Kill Team Death Watch, but the Marines were not decked out Death Watch style. They just had like one from all the main chapters,
Yeah,
and
that's the one with the Marines versus the Necrons. I
yep,
have that one.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
we picked that one up for Bjorn. But yeah,
Uh, and then
um,
they actually had like a series of ones that got canceled, unfortunately, uh, because I believe due to the pandemic, and I was super sad because it was two of the Warhammer Underworld's Chaos Warbands
Hmm.
fighting in the style of basically like the combat arena almost it looked like, but it had some different rules. And you could download the rules. I actually have the rules downloaded. They had the rules up on their website for a while, but the actual game never got released because something happened with shipping and everything, which was super sad because I could have used both those warbands for conversion purposes.
Barnes and Noble seems to get a lot of exclusives for a lot of different things. They did that with BattleTech too. Like they had Before Mercenaries was even a Kickstarter, they actually had some.
They got the Wolf's Dragoons.
Yep, exactly.
Barnes and Noble's exclusive. Yep, they sure did.
You could get that really badass archer variant, the jumping. What was it? It wasn't a Firefly. I think it was a Locust or something like that. They had a Warhammer in there. Like that
I
thing
think
was.
they had a Clint.
They had a badass pack for that thing.
But yeah, a little bit of a tangent there.
We always get into a tangent.
What I should say, yeah, if you're
no, this isn't a
get
tangent. We're talking about video games that are related to stuff that's getting put into game stores, and Barnes and Noble is not a normal game store.
No.
But it is a
Right?
good place to get the normies in, which I guess
Exactly.
isn't quite the tangent that it sounds like. But that's what I'd say. It's like anyone who's like trying to get into it, who's afraid of the cost of it. If you just go into Barnes and Noble on any given day and check their clearance rack for their board games, you could pick up those GW board game sets and get yourself a small skirmish set of minis for $12 for almost two people sometimes, depending on whatever the box is. But yeah, so Titus is going to show up in a board game, and of course, everybody on Twitter was having a big laugh at GW's expense because oh my goodness, it's been almost 2 months since you guys talked about a lieutenant model coming out. We were afraid it was going to stop.
Not another lieutenant model.
Not another lieutenant model.
Oh my god!
But it looks like this one, he's just the one miniature, so maybe it's a solo board game where you survive against the Tyranids.
And
kind of makes sense with the game.
That would be cool.
Right? Yeah. And that would be cool.
I don't know much about the game. I've never played it, so
really good solo experiences are something that I wish I would appreciate more. It's kind of a odd thing, but maybe we should talk about that in another episode. But yeah, so Warhammer Skulls happened. They showed off all the sexy footage for they've got a new Vermintide DLC coming out. They've got a new Darktide. Boltgun came out, which is a callback to Doom. It looks pretty fun. They had Ravi, one of the actors from iZombie, plays the main character for that one. And yeah, so they showed off all of these, and then there's like a bunch of games that I don't particularly care about, which are like these strategy card games that you can play on your phone, and these like hex map battles that you could play on your phone. Basically, all these mobile games that you could play on your phone that they're showing off footage for. And then it doesn't even stop there. There is this like trucker simulator that you can get Space Marine stickers for free. Like if you're playing the game, it's like, oh yeah, download your free Warhammer stickers now. And then there was what is it? Not DayZ. Is it DayZ? What was the movie with the zombie apocalypse with Brad Pitt? World War Z.
World War Z?
I think there's the World War Z video game where you can get like little Space Marine trinkets that hang off of your avatar's backpack. So it's weird how they've really leveraged this mass media consumption of, it's not just even Warhammer specific video games. You could play even regular normie games and get that Warhammer feel. So it's
there's World of Tanks that you can actually get the Warhammer tanks in. Did you know that?
Yeah, that was one of the things that they showed off. I couldn't remember the name.
And then I've never heard of this game, but there's a game out there called Pressure Washer.
Yeah, and you get to the footage was just them pressure washing the Warhammer 40K logo.
Yeah,
but
I'm assuming you're gonna get a pressure wash Space Marine tanks, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say, could you imagine pressure washing a Lehman Russ? It'd be pretty fun. It's oddly satisfying.
You missed it, Scott. There's gore over there on the treads, you fucker. Yeah.
First off, who plays a game where you just pressure wash stuff?
Jackson,
what is that?
If you can't afford a pressure washer, like have you? I mean, you've gone to the wash rack and you've cleaned.
That's not a pressure washer, though.
Well, yeah, that's not a pressure washer.
That's a straight up water cannon.
Yeah, it is. Do not aim at your buddy.
That's crowd control
unless
right
it's
there.
like really hot outside. But yeah, I mean that was something that I always thought was super like oddly satisfying. It's like you got to go clean your vehicles. You get like 7 people. Oh god, damn it! And then Patty be over there like, yes, a good day for Patty.
Funny story. This is totally off topic, but my last trip to the watch rack while I was on active duty. we were taking what we call the iHemis, which are basically front loaders slash backhoe combos. And we were driving there, and there was a convoy of Bradleys in front of us. And the last Bradley in the line, the one right in front of us, flipped because they took the turn so fast that it top heavied, right? And
Ooh,
so it ended up on its side, and oil poured all over the ground, and it was crazy. And they ended up making us use our iHemis to dig this ginormous, like 20-foot wide by 10 feet long by 10 feet deep pit to get rid of all this oil and fuel spill out of this Bradley. And I have no clue how they ended up getting this thing off its side.
damn.
One
But
way or another. They'll figure it out.
yeah, so that I'm surprised I never made it onto Army WFT moments, but so funny side story.
So, when we were talking the other day, one of the things that I was lamenting was War Machine. War Machine got one video game, and there's like a plethora of super good ideas that they could use to make video games for War Machine. One, I think the easiest thing, and I don't get it because I don't play a lot of these tactical strategy assault card games.
Mm-hmm.
But the high command card game, I don't know why they never released a mobile version of that.
I
Yeah, that's
I'm
crazy.
I'm gonna tell you because I did play the Horus Heresy one. I was not super impressed. Um,
Yeah.
I basically found it was kind of like it really was, luck of the draw and who gets the badass card first. You would just, you know,
So what? So they're not really balanced.
not really. It first off, it was pay to play. So you would get like starter cards and you would unlock stuff as you played missions. So you'd get like 3 or 4 free cards a week or something like that. And
Say it's not so, GW.
they'd be all different factions. So you'd be like you're trying to play one faction and you're trying to, get cards for that deck or whatever. But you have to buy it to get a deck or an expansion or whatever. I basically did. You start off as loyalist Sons of Horus, so you actually have like Loken as your starter character, and then you can get into other legions. I did Raven Guard because Raven Guard.
So
Um,
it's Horse Heresy themed.
yeah, and they do a really good job of all the voiceover, having the characters, and like it's great visually. It's got a lot of sound effects like that, and it's obviously very fun and flashy. But the problem I had with it was it really just became pay to play, and you would just get that one badass card, and you would literally just lose by an inch. It would be like, oh well, okay, good. You're out of health. You have nothing to block. Okay, you're down. It plays a lot like Magic. Um, it just has, you literally have energy. You decide what you're going to do with that, and you can deploy cards, have them attack. There's literally summoning sickness. Like, I'm not going to go so far as to say GW ripped off WotC, but it seriously was looking like it for a minute.
I mean, well, they
Hmm.
did put out their own version of Age of Sigmar as a tabletop card game.
Oh yeah, and all the cards, the border of the cards was a QR code, so that way you
Yep.
can download them into your app.
Yep.
I think it only lasted maybe 6 months and then it went away too. I didn't, and now I think you can actually get 40K version of Warhammer Fantasy or not of Magic the Gathering now. There's a Warhammer
Yes.
40K version of Warhammer or Magic the Gathering, which
Yeah, a
is
bunch of people brought the
crazy.
commander decks to Wargamer Girls Valhalla in the fall last year.
Oh, I'm sure it was Cool Guys Nation. Aaron loves Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, Saren does love MTG. But yeah, so the question was, does video games enhance the tabletop experience, uh, or vice versa?
So
Because there are some games that do really well as video games. Like I hear that there are a lot of people who played the Gloomhaven video game and kind of forewent their board game because the video game just handles all of the functions of the campaign for you, and it
yeah,
just
but
makes it
well,
for
also I bet the video game's like $58 and not $158.
right. But and if we would have had this conversation yesterday, I would have been like, and I don't even play video games, but I did spend a good portion of my recovery today playing the new Zelda game. So there's that. But I don't even play video games. I couldn't imagine trying to play my favorite tabletop game as a video game.
Well, I am probably out of all of us the least video gamey person.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I've almost played no video games that are related to tabletop miniature game except for Dawn of War,
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
which I
classic.
got into well after I was already into Warhammer 40K. But I loved it. It's a great game. I love all of the first four expansion, the first four, the original game and the three expansions that came for it. They're my favorite.
Yep.
Uh, Dawn of War 2 with its two expansions aren't terrible, but I hate that you kind of just have stuck playing that Marines and you have to fight through the chaos, infection, and the Tyranids and everything. But I never played 3 at that point because I was like, kind of 2 kind of burned me. I didn't even know what 3 was going to be like. But there is a Dawn of War original game Crucible mod. I don't know if you've heard of that, which gives you like all the units, access to like every unit of that's in the game, basically from Forge World, from 40K up to what we see now. So you can actually get Primaris Space Marines in your
Oh
Dawn
wow.
in your Dawn of War game. So it's a mod. It's a mod though, so it's like community generated. Uh,
Oh, and it's for the first one, right?
for the original, yeah, but you have to have Dawn of War Soulstorm. So if you don't have Soulstorm in the first 3 games all installed, it won't work right. Um, and so
Interesting.
my suggestion would be is make sure you have them all 4 of the original Dawn of Wars installed on your computer through Steam, and then install the mod through the Steam Workshop, and
Smart.
then you'll have access to play it. And uh, there you can build Reaver Titans, and I think you can get a Warlord Titan in it. I haven't seen Warlord Titan in gameplay, but I've been watching people play it online, and YouTube videos, and I've seen them play Warhound Titans, I've seen them play Reaver Titans. There's Riptides, there's the Taunar, uh, all the flyers are in there. I've seen flyers. It changes the game drastically. So yeah, that is awesome that you can see that. And the other game that I play that kind of is related to tabletop is not really so much tabletop is the old Star Wars Empire at War game, which has been modded beyond belief. And I play the Star Wars Empire at War Rise of the Rebellion, and it plays a lot like how I picture you playing a game of Star Wars Armada. And every time I play it, I was like, oh, you know what I want to do with Star Wars Legion or Armada next time I play? I want to bring a bunch of these transports, and then if my transports survive, then my transports land on the planet that I'm assaulting, and then I gotta play a bunch of Star Wars Legion.
Yeah, that is actually pretty exciting.
But yeah, I can never find anybody that wants to do both. And so I'm back into that boat of I just don't have good friends, or they live too far away from me.
Yeah, I was gonna
Bruh.
say live too far away because we talk all the time about doing one-page rules FTL, and then once we get like planets or like the space flights done.
Why do you think I want to do that in one page rules FTL? Because of Star Wars. I steal all my IDs from somewhere, Patrick.
I mean, you could even that's the thing I actually like about FTL is that you could put it to any setting. You could make freaking Exo Squad in FTL.
Actually, that's a good idea. That'd be pretty cool.
And then you can play the ground portion using BattleTech rules or something. I don't know.
Speaking of BattleTech, Brewski, you played all of the BattleTech video games?
Well, not all, but I spent my formative years for the most part I actually played in clans online and throughout MechWarrior 3 for Mercenaries and Black Knight, the expansion. And yeah, so I've everything in the BattleTech fandom for the most part I've done. I didn't start off with the very earliest games like I don't think I've played Mech Assault, which is it's sort of the computerized version of BattleTech. I've played the new Harebrained Schemes BattleTech. I have that.
Is Harebrained Screens BattleTech the BattleTech Online
No, that's MechWarrior Online. That's the
or
shoot 'em up.
MechWarrior Online? I mean,
Yeah, MechWarrior Online is the shoot 'em up version of like all the simulator type games. BattleTech by Harebrained Schemes is literally the board game in computer version.
oh, oh,
Yeah.
I use Mega Mech to do that,
Oh, nice.
and that's 100% free. You just have to have a place to host your server or and a buddy to play with, I believe. I think you can actually make an AI play against you too, though.
I mean,
And
yeah,
that was my first experience of ever having a dropship because my mission was to land my dropship for my mechs to get off it.
Mhm.
I don't know how to pilot a dropship in the game, or I don't know how to use it in that game that mod online. My my dropship got shot out of the space, got shot out of the air,
Rough.
and
But
it crashed, and it destroyed the whole map.
I
The
mean
whole map.
that is a tactic. And not only have I played the games, I've read a handful of the books, and so I'm pretty well grounded for most of the lore. I kind of fell off towards the very end with the whole Alaric Wolf Ill Clan era, but I know pretty much about that, and I really liked. I first got the thing that actually got me into it. I didn't start playing BattleTech first. I'd seen it in the store, but I started playing MechWarrior 3, which lore wise takes part in the beginning of Operation Bulldog and Operation Certain, which is in your sphere fighting back against the clans. It was really kind of crude, but I was just there for the online multiplayer. I was like, yeah, screw the story, whatever. But that got me to get BattleTech. So in that case, yeah, it did. It definitely did help me out, and I found it was pretty well accurate. Like obviously, I recognize some of the machines. You have a lot of the stuff that you find in classic BattleTech, even starting out 3025. Um, you have the Orion, you have the how was it? You had the Raven, I think, was in one of the expansions. The Centurion was an expansion, and they were all really, really just
Those are all pretty
iconic
good
mechs. Yep. And
but they're not riflemen.
no, but I mean, it's really weird because I've never played a game where I saw a Jaeger mech, but I've seen riflemen, it's kind of funny to me.
Rifleman is my favorite mech, just so everybody knows. And I get made fun of by my mech warrior and BattleTech friends because of that. I
In which
kind of just
case,
look the look of it with the dual. It looks like the twin autocannon dreadnoughts from back in 5th edition Warhammer 40K.
Mortis Dreadnoughts, yeah.
Yeah, but obviously it's also the Destroyed from Robotech.
Yep.
So that's why it was an unseen for so long.
You're gonna want to keep an eye out and go to Target because this is new on the horizon.
They're
Catalyst is
re-releasing the unseens.
no, they're doing a new starter set that's only going to be at Target, and it's going to be Justin Zhang's Yenlo Wang Centurion versus Gray Naughton's Legend Killer Rifleman.
Ooh.
And it's only going to be at Target. So that's actually going to be pretty cool. And that was the first book I read. Warrior Trilogy was the first set of books I read in BattleTech. So
I know pretty much all the fluff from BattleTech that deals with the Dragoons.
so
Other than that, I just know sporadic fluff here and there throughout the thing. I know a little bit about the Hell's Horses, the I don't want to mispronounce the Eldradi Light.
Iridani Light Horse.
Iridani Light Horse. There we go. Yeah.
If you get the Mercenaries
Those
expansion,
are both mercenary companies. There's a few other big mercenary companies out there, but those are the major ones, I would say.
Yeah. And obviously if you're getting the Mercenaries Kickstarter, you're gonna get a lot of cool stuff on them. I love the Kellhounds, obviously. I loved hearing about Dan Allard, Morgan Kell. It's really funny to me. You have a main character running around in a light mech in a Wolfhound, and he just decimates everybody. I love that.
Well, I
mech,
mean, there's
though.
such a drastic. That's the one thing I like about BattleTech and MechWarrior is there's such a drastic difference between your piloting skill and your gunnery skill
Yep.
compared to what scale mech you are. So like, yeah, cool. I'm in an Atlas. I have a huge box, but I'm a pilot skill 4 and a gunnery skill of 5.
A rookie
Dude, I can't hit
somehow
shit.
got a hold of an assault mech, and yeah, you're still running like hell, but it's going to be hilarious until he actually hits you. So.
Yeah,
But
I have being a total BattleTech virgin. I got nothing to say other than I saw the boxes at Barnes and Noble, and maybe you can catch those on sale there too.
yep. But
Man, maybe
video
I
game
should swing
wise,
by.
I mean, it's who does not want to play something where you're literally a simulator of, giant stompy mech, lasers, missiles, cannons, all kinds of big stuff. Mercenaries was cool because it actually got into Solaris in the Gladiator games. So you would see more custom variants. You would have a little bit more challenge.
So for Patrick, Solaris is basically like the
It's
Privateer Press
it's
game that
gladiatorial
was
games of
what
mechs.
was the Privateer Press game where you had all your jacks inside the
Grind.
arena? Grind. There you go. So it's grind,
Well,
except for
actually,
your
you
mechs.
say that, but there is a gladiatorial game that came out in one of the No Quarter Prime issues before they canceled that.
But this is not just one guy versus one guy. This is a group of guys versus a group of guys. So
Oh,
it's more
fair
like
enough.
grind.
Fair.
I know exactly what you're talking about though. But that is a great game. You can talk
I
about it if you want.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to play the crap out of that one. But I mean, the kind of the basis of this conversation was more of like the third party content, and so that all kind of seems like so we talk about BattleTech or GW, these third party content games, or you could even go with like how one page rules helped grow it, but video games specifically being when you guys are playing Dawn of War or when you're playing Mech Warrior, do you find yourself wishing that you were playing the tabletop game instead? Or when you're playing the tabletop game and you're getting into like the crunch and all the rules and flipping through the books, you're like, man, I could have just played some Dawn of War.
No, not for me. I feel like they're two different mediums.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's say I just have an hour to kill, but nobody to game with, and I don't have a solo game ready to play. I can throw on Dawn of War, or I can throw on Armada. Or let's say I
Mm-hmm.
have an insomnia night and everybody else in the house is asleep. I can put on the headphones and throw on a game, and I can play until I get tired, and then I can play. But I can't game because I have to turn on lights
Yep.
and get everything ready.
The click clack of the dice against the
Yeah.
hardwood table.
And then
Wake
I have to hear Ashley bitch me. I can hear you down there. Go to sleep.
Oh my god.
um
It was
yeah,
never
I guess
really
that's
was never really a big issue to go between. It was kind of the same thing as Jeremy says. Like it's just the opportunity of do I have people to play with, or is it too late? Am I in the middle of bumfuck nowhere?
mm-hmm.
That's really all that ever came down to.
Now,
And I kind of get that because like the games that I played that were direct rules were so Neverwinter Nights when that came out
Yep.
I love
was
Neverwinter Nights.
it was direct
Oh,
3.0.
I spent so much time building my own individial campaign in
Mm-hmm.
Neverwinter Nights with so
The
many mods
construction
in it.
set.
Yep, using that construction set, and then stupid computer got a virus and crashed, and I lost it all.
Oh, you
Oof.
can get it now,
So
right?
sad.
I actually have a copy of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't get all the stuff I did to mod it.
Yeah, but the memories are still alive. But so like I remember playing that because
I have it on my Steam account.
like when sad patty time when the family broke apart, we didn't have our family gaming group anymore. I
No.
was able to take the same character that I had more or less, and with the command console, just imported the character that we were playing in Faerun and ported him into Neverwinter Nights and got to keep on playing. So there was
Hashtag winning.
that. And then as I got older, XCOM and Divinity Original Sin 2 were the go-tos. They really scratched my wargaming itch when Kitty was pregnant and just wasn't feeling well to play, but I couldn't make it to the game store because she wasn't feeling good. Those games kind of like what Jeremy said, when I couldn't play, those were what I did play. But it personally for me, it wasn't quite the same. I think Neverwinter Nights was a little bit different. I was younger and I definitely got way addicted to the role play server that I was on because it had some really good PvP metrics and kind of like what are those called? why can't I think? Rules of engagement. Had some really good rules of engagement on there, and then the role play was good, so the emerging story was great. But I do even then, as soon as I got into high school and got into Dungeons and Dragons Club and was going to that specifically, then I remember putting away Neverwinter Nights, and I didn't get back into it until I deployed, and me and my buddy Cody downloaded it, and we were landing it up.
Sweet.
So for your question, to be honest, Pat, while I think a lot of gamers that play miniature games or RPGs will end up playing those games on a computer, it isn't because the computer draws us away from the game. It's because it's a different experience that is within that game universe.
Right.
On the flip side, I think a lot of people that find these universes through a video game, not a lot, but there's a good amount that find these universes through video games do end up trying out the miniature game when they find out that there's a miniature game or a board game related to it.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like I did with BattleTech. But, people obviously, 40K is probably the easy one to go to just because there are so many and have been so many different games. I mean, 90s, you had what, Ultramarines with that really stupid chant we can never get out of our heads?
Yeah, I don't know any of the Games Workshop video games that came out before Dawn of War. Dawn of War is the first Games Workshop video game I was introduced to.
Now you're making me feel old. Probably the first.
Remember, I wasn't much of a video gamer.
I know, but
I didn't have a Nintendo until 1994. I didn't have my first computer until 2003-ish.
Probably the first one I actually did was actually Fire Warrior on PS2.
I remember seeing Fire Warrior. It is a Tau, and he fights against a group of Chaos Cultists. And they kind of break the Tau fluff because they make him go crazy. And that is probably my first experience as well with a Games Workshop game. But I think it came out roughly right around the same time as Dawn of War.
A couple years before.
Maybe just before.
A couple years before, yep. It was I think it was right around
because they actually everybody has an argument about whether Dawn of War third expansion is the one that gives you the Tau to play as, and the commander in the Dawn of War campaign is named
Case.
Yeah, and that's the same name as the Fire Warrior from Fire Warrior, and everyone's like, it's the same guy. But it's not. They're from different seps.
Yeah, the Tau and the Tau only have a 30-year lifespan. So it's kind of like, is it the same time or what the hell?
So
30 to 60, and they freeze them between missions if they don't need them.
Pretty much, yeah.
Damn fish commies.
I just remember it was.
There's a nerf.
We're not communists, fucker.
They're socialists, yeah. Anyway,
we're closer to socialists than communists. Yes,
they're worst. They're the worst.
The thing. I loved it because visually for me it was interesting being there and seeing, like, you obviously the first thing you're doing is you're fighting against humanity. So you're fighting against Imperial Guard to start. You can run around, you can take their las guns. The first kind of badass thing you see is like an officer with a chain sword coming at you, and I thought it was retarded, but you actually have a sword. You have a bonding knife you can use in close combat. It just does
bonding knife. Yeah, he's like one of the only good Tau in close combat.
To kill anything, basically, at that boss stage, you have to grenade it. You can sit there shooting it, but you literally will go through like 2.5 clips to kill something. It's not even a boss, really. It's just a guy with a bigger gun. You get the first Space Marine actually shows up, and you're like, oh shit! Like you have
the ability to climb in their vehicles in that game, right? Am I mistaken?
There's no vehicles.
I thought there was a Rhino or two.
No, you go with. At some point later on, when Chaos shows up and all hell's breaking loose, you team up with a Ultramarines captain, and he literally drops you off in a land speeder. But they don't even show it. You're just like, you get out, and he's impatient for you to leave. That was it. So.
I kind of like, man, maybe I'm totally misremembering then, or maybe it was a different game. But I swore you were an alien inside a Space Marine Rhino, and I was like, what the hell am I doing inside this thing?
What Jeremy was saying earlier about the there's gamers like us who are into it, who have been into it, that use these video games to like scratch the itch when there's a void, versus the newbies who, oh yeah, no, Space Marine looks really cool. That looks awesome. I'd love to hack up green skinned orcs with a chain sword. And then they learn about Titus and they're like, oh wow. And then they get hit with the ending and the warp and all of that craziness. And they're like, I gotta get me some Space Marines. Our mutual friend JP Got Rockets put out a question on there, and he said that anecdotal evidence suggests that there have been more than a few players that have entered the miniatures hobby through the Dawn of War real-time strategy game.
For
Yeah,
sure.
no, Dawn of War is definitely the big one. When I was working at the game store in El Paso, people would tell me about it. They're like, "Yeah, I played Dawn of War. It was really cool. I found out there was miniatures. Let me check it out." But
I remember seeing that
I
headline where it's like they turned the Dawn of War computer game into a tabletop game. I'm like, you sons of guns! How dare you?
It's the other way around, and we're moral
Heresy!
purists.
uh I'm sure we'll see the same thing with Dark Tide. Dark Tide's got so much freaking press in the last like year and a half, 2 years.
Well, Dark Tide does look really good. I mean,
It
if I could, I'd be
looks
playing it right now too.
it looks beautiful, and I'm so happy that when in like two different White Dwarfs, they kind of went over and how to convert your uh some of your Imperial Guardmen to look like the your crew from Dark Tide.
Yeah. So like last year's during
Not that
the
I've ever played Dark Tide.
I was gonna say last year during the Warhammer Skulls event, they gave away Vermintide 2 for free. And this year, I know Good Old
So
Games is doing some really good
I
deals.
I'm actually on Steam right now,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Uh-huh.
Gladius, Warhammer 40K Gladius is free to play currently. There's a 10% discount on Boltgun. They have a slew of new games coming out that they're previewing, like Warforged, Speed Freaks, Rogue Trader, a
Dude, the
few other
Speed
ones.
Freaks game looks super fun too. Did you see the trailer for that one?
I
I haven't
did.
looked at any of these trailers at all. Dark Tide is 30% off, so it's only $28. Warhammer Total
Ooh.
War is 33% off. Warhammer Total War 3, 30%, 33% off, so it's $40. That one actually super excites me. Chaos Gate's 20% off for $36. There's some other games here I haven't really heard of. They look smaller. Vermintide is 80% off, so you can get it for $6.
Some of the super
Wow.
old games, yeah, you can pick up
So,
for pennies.
there's another one called Warhammer Legions that looks like it's coming out for free soon, and it's gonna be free to play possibly.
Hmm.
You can get for you, Patrick, if you're interested, Warhammer Underworlds for $8.
Yeah, see, and that's like one of those
I
ones
already own
where
it.
and last year they gave it away for free. I thought that I had downloaded or like did the claim it, and I don't know exactly where I did because again, I don't play video games that often. But that is definitely one of those games where it's like I'd much rather play the game on the table because it is an exact, from what I've heard and read, it's an exact
It is an
replica.
exact replica of the game itself. I
So
played it.
here's the two reasons why I would absolutely prefer to play it. Like even if I just set up a camera where Jeremy and I would play it like over like FaceTime or something. It's like because I have the miniatures and
Let's
he would
do
have the
that.
yeah, we should try it. Well, we got to try it with mutants first. Come on. But
No,
the parlor
Yes.
games the parlor
Yes.
games deserve the trial. Um but it's one of those things where it's like, man, I already purchased the war bands, and that was one of the things about the Warhammer Underworlds video game is it's like you buy the game, and I think you got the first four factions with it. So I think it came with the Stormcast Eternals, Steelheart's Champions. It came with um
Probably Night Haunt
the
and Orcs, I think. Or
no,
no.
it came not with the
are you
Night
talking about the
Haunt.
first game?
Yeah, the Underworlds, Warhammer
Warhammer
Underworlds.
Underworlds came with 3 Stormcast Eternals and
Mm-hmm.
6 Corn Blood Reavers,
Yeah. So when you bought the video
or
game,
5 Blood Reavers.
yeah, when you buy the video game, it comes with Steelheart's Champions, the Why can't I think of the name of the skeletons?
Well, let me
They're
just load it up. I have it.
Ossiarch Bone Reapers.
no, they're not
No,
even them. They're
they're
the ossified
literally
undead.
they're not even part of the Nagash. They betrayed Nagash, so you can't even use them in any of the Nagash armies. They're
Fuck
the
them kids.
one of the factions that don't get rules to be able to be used in Age of Sigmar.
Fuck them kids.
So,
Yeah, there's something like the something host.
where's it at?
It's not the sarcophagus. It's not. Why can't I think of
I have so many games on
the other
Steam that
word?
I'd never
But
played.
anyway, they started coming out with all of the different factions, and one of the things that I really liked about Warhammer
Warhammer
Underworlds
Underworlds, got it.
was the $35 box sets. So even if you didn't buy the $70 or $80 two-player set,
$42 box sets?
well, when you get them at the discount, and most of them were being sold at a discount when the game first came out. Those boxes
When the
were
game first came out, they
$35 a
were
piece.
$35, yes.
Yeah.
Now they're
Nowadays they're not.
42.50, I believe.
Yeah. Which
And
still
then
isn't
you have to
that
pay like
bad.
$18 for the dice and $15 for the sleeves.
I guess it depends on how you want to play. Like I have command dice for Mantic Dead Zone, but I still use D6s if I need to. So but yeah, that was one of those things where it's like, man, I already bought the physical edition and the video game plays exactly the same. I'd rather play the
It does
tabletop.
play exactly the same, but I don't think you have access to all the factions right off the bat. You have to pay to get
No,
all the
yeah,
factions.
and that's what I'm saying is you when you buy the game, you get 4 of them, and then each one is piecemeal add-on, and I think they cost like $7 or $8 a piece.
Lame. I have to read all this nonsense for this game before it actually loads the game.
But
Painful.
but then you get games like Space Marine, and Space Marine being a third person hack and slasher kind of like in the vein of Dynasty Warriors or something like that.
Kinda, yeah.
Then I was like, yeah, if I can't play the game, then I'm gonna play something that is kind of that flavor. Plus, I mean, GW also has like a whole slew of mobile games. I mean, I played the one where uh it was Kill Team basically because you had your
They
oh
literally
now
do
I
have a
can't
kill
think
team.
yeah
It's just
yeah it
called
was
kill team.
yeah that's what it was Kill Team, and you were actually going out and just it was a real time or not a real time turn-based strategy game using an
What the
action point economy, and you were killing Tyranids.
Mhm.
And I played that one uh until the iOS updated it until the iOS updated and the game didn't keep up. And I was super sad because I paid for the game. And that's happened to
Oh,
me
that
twice.
sucks.
Yeah, it's
I
happened to
didn't
me twice. I got this one that was
I don't play games on my phone for
um
that simple reason.
HP Lovecraft. It was Chaosium's role playing rules for their Call of Cthulhu, and it was a turn based strategy game where you played a squad of World War II spec ops dudes facing off against the Germans and like Nazi Gestapos that were all into the occult, and you were going deep behind enemy lines to stop them from trying to summon Cthulhu.
Basically
And that
Wolfenstein
game,
with Cthulhu,
Dude,
yeah.
that totally sounds like Blood Rain.
yeah, and so it was a turn-based strategy game on mobile, and it was super challenging, just absolutely rough. And that was another one of those games where iOS updated, the publishers didn't want to update with it, and you couldn't play the game anymore. And I was super
Sucks.
upset because I paid for the game, I don't know, 3 months prior, and would play it when I got the chance, and I never got to beat it.
You know what? There is one video game that has come out with a miniature game later in its life cycle that I do want to try out
Mm-hmm.
that I
Which one?
haven't yet.
Which one?
Elder Scrolls has a video game put out by Modifius,
Tabletop
right?
game put up by Modifius. Yes, they do.
Or is it by Protos?
No, it's Modifius because Modifius put out both Fallout and Skyrim tabletop role playing and war games.
All right, I can remember the two companies are constantly in my brain together. Anyways, yeah, they have a miniature game, And so I was super excited when I first saw it because I knew my buddy Budgies played the um,
Fallout, right?
Fallout game, and he has lots of videos on it. And
Uh-huh.
then I asked him at when we were at Valhalla together if it played the same. And he's like, I don't think so. It's written by two different people, but I've never played it, so I
Mm.
don't know.
Hmm.
And then I checked out a lot of the miniatures, and they look cool. They're expensive, probably because it's a licensed game.
Mm-hmm.
And then beyond that, beyond it being a licensed game, I think they're not quite in scale. They're more true scale, so like normal proportions than heroic scale, like our models that. So if I bought them to put in my Frostgrave or my Rangers of Shadow Deep or my 5 Parsecs from Home, the models wouldn't quite look right. They'd be a
Be a
little bit
little off.
skinnier, a little bit more real proportioned.
Yep, a little bit off.
So that's why I've held off on it a little bit. But the models do look beautiful, and they're expensive. I think there's a lot of cardboard in those packs too as well. But that's
Yeah.
normal nowadays.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards and tokens. Because they did try to emulate a lot of the exploratory stuff that goes on. You know, there's like looting crates and rolling on those. So, but do you think that there was how many people played Skyrim, saw the miniatures game, and got into it versus how many people played Skyrim and tabletop RPGs and war games and then saw that and was like, oh yeah, that's definitely for me.
I'm willing to
Versus
bet you 90% of the people that are playing the Elder Scrolls tabletop game played that video game.
well, yeah, but how many
I don't
people
know how
who
many people
played
are
that
playing it.
how many people who played the video game that never touched a role playing like a tabletop role playing game or a tabletop war game are playing that game?
I would say you're hard pressed to find a single person that played that video game that didn't play an RPG at once in their life. I mean, I don't know true stats, but I almost guarantee you almost everybody that played that video game played an RPG.
That's
Because
a
they're
good
playing
No,
that
point.
art
because I
they're
knew a
playing that
lot of
video
people.
game because they don't have that experience of they can't play with a group right now. Like I
I don't
play
know, dude,
Skyrim right
because
now because I
I
don't have
played
a
a lot.
local group.
I met a lot of people who played Skyrim that were like, "Man, you ever play Skyrim? Yeah, it's awesome. It's great. Yeah, man, fighting dragons, that's so cool. I can't believe a games like this never came out. Oh, have you ever played Morrowind? No. Oh, well, do you play like
Hmm.
Dungeons and Dragons or anything? No. What's that? That's that
How
nerd
do they
stuff,
not know that? How do they
dude.
not know
I
that Elder
when
Scrolls is the
when
fifth
I was
game in
in
the series?
when I was in school, okay, and I was talking to people talking
The
about Skyrim.
internet
I
is a
cannot believe
thing.
how old that game is. By the way,
Oh yeah.
Skyrim is so
Hell
old.
yeah.
But that's what I'm
Skyrim is
talking
old. They
about. Is
actually
like
have Elder Scrolls Online Necrom now.
there was a lot of people that I knew who had played Skyrim. It was their first like action role playing game they've ever played because a lot of them were playing Madden or Gears of War or Halo, and then they played Skyrim and they're like, man, that shit was awesome. And that's the whole reason why Skyrim was the one Elder Scrolls game that got remade 8 times instead of Morrowind or Oblivion because nobody cared before then.
No, Oblivion is pretty good. Morrowind is terrible because of the
You
graphics.
shut your mouth.
Oh
I'll
God.
kill
Morrowind.
you.
Morrowind is great. It's a
Morrowind is
fantastic
terrible.
game.
It's a bunch of
It's
fucking
way
dark elves that don't even know what the hell they're doing with their lives.
it's way better than Arena, which is actually a walking simulator. But
He did.
but that's what I'm talking about. Is like you we've heard a lot of people who play Dawn of War because it's a real-time strategy game. People really like people whose brains are wired to play games like Command and Conquer, Battle for Middle Earth, Dawn of War. What's the fantasy one?
Total
Which
War.
fantasy
Total War.
one?
Total War.
Total
Yeah.
War.
Total War,
Yeah.
yeah. We
Yeah,
were
when
just
they
talking
play
about Total War. They have the Warhammer Old World Total War game.
exactly. So you get people who play those games that are they already have like the mindset to want to play strategy type games. And so when somebody who would say, I'd rather play Dawn of War than play Gears of War, when they see miniature games, they're like, oh my God, this is fucking great. Why haven't I ever heard of this? But then when you get somebody who plays Gears of War, I guarantee you, if they came out with a Gears of War tabletop skirmish game tomorrow, it wouldn't sell very well at all.
Gears of War has a tabletop skirmish game.
My point exactly. I've never heard of it.
Much like Santa Claus, just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
It was done by WizKids around the same time that they did their Aliens and Aliens versus Predator WizKids click game.
Yeah,
as well as Halo Click. Did you know that those existed?
No. Gears of War tabletop.
No, wait. Just put Gears of War WizKids.
I see Gears of War, the board game.
There is a board game as well, yes.
Okay, but is there a war game?
By WizKids. Put Gears of War WizKids.
Gears of War Wiz.
Dude, am I crazy? Am I remembering something that never happened? Is this what's it called? The not the Schroeder
I see
effect.
it. Gears of War 3. Wow. Hey, look at that. WizKids Hero Clicks. Oh, well, it's Hero Clicks.
But it's WizKids.
But how many Gears of War players that never played Hero Clicks?
I don't fucking know. I don't play. I don't even play Gears of War. My brother Raymond talks about it. That's the only reason I know about it.
But that's what I'm talking about. It's weird because you get kind of going back to the original point is GW licenses its intellectual property to real-time strategy, which bodes really well for people who actually play the tabletop game. And then, action shooter slashing games like Space Marine. Then you get the strategy card games for the people who have heard of and played Magic and such. Then you get games like they had Necromunda, which was their first action point economy game.
So awesome, both computer and video.
And then they had Necromunda Hired Gun, which was a high action first person shooter. So what I'm saying is, they've branched out into all these different genres of video game, and then on top of that, they've got all these genres of tabletop games. So then we look at stuff like stuff that comes like out of the box. You have the Star Wars games. So my buddy Cody, who I was talking about earlier, I deployed with.
Cody's the one who played Armada.
Exactly.
You introduced me to.
So the only reason why he got into Armada, even though he was a huge Star Wars fan, he only got into Armada because I told him about it. He never even conceived of there being a game. And then not only did he get into Armada, but then he got into the
Armada's not even the first miniature game that came out for Star Wars.
Exactly. But that's what he was into. He also got into the Halo FTL game.
The Fleet Battles game by Spartan or the ground attack game by Spartan?
The fleets.
All right. Here's a funny story.
It wasn't because he didn't get into them because of him being a fan, even though that helped. He got into them because he found out they existed from a tabletop gamer while being a fan.
Interesting.
So here's a funny story. I never have played a Halo video game ever once in my life. I actually think Halo is pretty lame. I think it's a little too cartoony and not realistic at all.
I don't really care about that.
I can see that.
You can make fun of me all you want, especially you listeners. It's just not my style. I much prefer Killzone. I think it's way more realistic.
Killzone. I played Killzone. That one's pretty good.
Yeah, we can all get behind that.
I got into the Halo Fleet Battle game because it was put out by Spartan Games, who I was already super into because they were doing Firestorm Armada. So I'd already been hugely invested in Firestorm Armada through Spartan Games, and then when they put out Halo Fleet Battles, I bought a ginormous Covenant army, fleet, really, I guess. As well as then acquired a ginormous is it the USMC?
UNSC.
UNSC fleet to the buddy that I was playing with, because he decided after we bought into this game big that he wanted to downgrade and like get rid of other stuff. So right before I left El Paso to come to up here to Washington, I picked up all of his human fleet. And
Nice.
like we both had the biggest ship that you could actually get for the game. Sunrise Games down in on Yarborough Street.
Sun City.
Sun City Games, my bad. Sun City Games down on Yarborough Street. We bought everything they had in stock. Everything.
I'm sure they were happy about that.
And then I bought more stuff online. And so yeah, just ginormous amount of stuff. And they're beautiful sculpts. And unlike Spartan, unlike Firestorm Marauder, where everything's like resin, the Halo stuff is all plastic
Yep.
mold injected
All
miniatures.
nice.
Yeah, well, not everything. So the biggest ships are resin. But other than those, everything's plastic. They have these rather large bases that like you put 2 to 3, maybe 4 ships on sometimes, and you would have to set up your ships on these certain formations to get certain benefits. And I'm currently undefeated in that game.
Nice.
The Covenant is way overpowered compared to the humans in that game. I don't know if it was play tested very well or if the person I was playing against just didn't know what the fuck he was doing with the humans.
No, that's the fluff. That is the situation.
But like the Covenant has shields, and like the only thing that really doesn't affect the shields are the max. So you really have to concentrate Mac fire on from the humans to kill a Covenant ship.
That is fully
where the
lore and
Covenant
game
just
accurate.
the Covenant just wrecks the human ships with everything they have. They have a lot of long range weapons, close range weapons. And so like I always took the big ships. I didn't really concentrate on the escorts much. Just blast his big ships off the table first and leave his little ships for last.
Yep. Smart move.
So I did finally get Warhammer Underworld's video game open, and you get every faction from the first series of the game. So everything from Warhammer Underworld, Shadespire.
Right.
All those different
I can't
factions.
even get my good old games to launch because I can't remember my password to get in.
Well, you suck.
Yeah, how fucking dumb is that?
So you get all those factions included, and it looks like you get a few factions from the second game, the second series after Underworlds, because they definitely have the troll guy.
Oh, Mollog's Mob.
Mollog's Mob, yep. And they have the second Corn Warband in here, which is Magor's Fiends.
Good one.
But I don't think you have every single faction from every single expansion. You got Magor's Fiends, you got the Iron Blood, or the orcs, the first version of the orcs.
Iron Jaws?
Well, yeah, but they're both Iron Jaws, but it's the hard boys, there's 4 of them.
Skull Splitters.
I can't remember all their names.
Yeah.
You have the second version of the Stormcast Eternals, not the first version, which is weird. You have the trolls.
You mean of like the 5 they did?
You have it's the 3 Stormcasts and the 1 Gryph-hound. The ones with the crossbows. You have the Zinch faction, and then you have the other Corn faction, and then you have the Death faction. It doesn't tell me the names of these factions, which really gets me mad. I just get the symbols.
It's a little frustrating.
Yeah, it's super frustrating. I just see symbols, unfortunately.
What's being really frustrating is I finally got logged into good old games. As soon as I get logged in, there was a problem with the server. It's shutting down. Okay, I guess I won't play video games then.
So I have been playing it with Magor's Fiends, and I am again undefeated in this game currently. I don't think I've been playing against other players. I've just been playing against the online, the AI possibly. but I've only played 3 matches, so not a huge amount of matches in this. But it plays like Pat was saying, it plays exactly like the miniature game. And the reason I was super excited about it is because I do love the miniature
I
game,
did. I
but
loved it.
there's no one up here
I
that I know that plays
loved
it.
it. There is a
And it
heavy
does give you the
emphasis
option.
on the past tense.
It does
Yep.
give you the option to play online against other players or invite a friend. What I personally have been doing when I do play it is I play the challenges.
Mm.
So
Speaking of accurate to the game, I mean, that was the biggest thing I liked about Harebrained Schemes BattleTech is it plays like BattleTech. The initiative is there, the what the weapons do, the effects they have, the randomizing and damage, that's all there. That's all represented. And it's like you can literally play out a strategy the same way you would do it in the computer game as you would on the board. There's almost no difference.
Would you rather it be totally accurate, or would you rather feel like its own game?
I don't know how you would have it be its own game without really going off from that setting and that setup really. Um you would almost have to totally change the dynamics of how mechs work and how the game actually operates. It just I don't think you could really do that and still say it's the same game. You'd have to, rebrand or something.
Well, I mean, so like going back to the GW, the infinite well of content here is like they had this one called, I think it was called Freeblade, where you put together a Warhound.
Titans. Yeah.
Yeah, the Titans. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, it was like a rail shooter where you just had to be like really fast at shooting the things around you. And then there was like some quick time events. If you could play a BattleTech game like that on your phone, would you play it, or would you just not bother?
BattleTech, no, because I think it's too complicated. I can tell you right now, you could only do BattleTech like that on a PC or a console or something because the controls and what you need to do are fairly sophisticated. Like it was actually frustrating. I tried doing it just with like my laptop's like mouse pad, and the way you need to control it, you can't do it just because there is so much to view and there is so much to how you move. Like the whole thing is still very much like on a hex type grid. There's just points instead of a grid. And it was
Mhm.
so frustrating because you move, but then you also have to pick your facing, and trying to do all that and rotate and not, deselect the spot you're going to is a royal pain in the ass without an actual mouse. So I don't think
Well,
that's something as a
that's what I'm saying is,
control.
if there was like a dumbed down version of it, it's like it's uh
I
Jeremy,
wouldn't I
what
wouldn't
was
play
the
it.
oh, you wouldn't play it?
Just dumb down would not fly. It would just be like, what are you doing? It's just a point and shoot clickbait. So
I hate clickbait games and point and shoot games.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I deleted like 6 games off my phone today just to free up space because I got tired of the ridiculous of like I'll never finish this game that has no point. I'm just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, just grinding.
Yeah, it's
But
dumb.
do you think it helps or hurts? Because there's a reason why GW is on the top as far as like war games go. There's a reason why Dungeons and Dragons is on the top as far as RPGs goes. And
Well, no,
part of it is like the
that's not because of
legacy.
video games. It's 100% because of legacy.
Well, but you don't think it's also because they whore out their IP so that way the brand recognition is there?
No.
Hmm.
As much as people like Alexa want to argue with me about this, I do not believe that. Uh, so let's go back. This would be in your infancy of gaming, Pat, because this would be the late 90s, early 2000s when
Mm-hmm.
Games Workshop really had competition.
Okay.
FASA was a huge competitor. Uh, Tangent Games was a huge competitor. There was 3 huge games that were just as popular as Games Workshop. So you had Games Workshop with Warhammer 40K. You had Tangent Games with Warzone. You had FASA with Vor the Maelstrom, and then you had I can't remember who originally owned Void 1.1. But basically within 5 years of Warhammer 40K coming out, these three other games became huge competitors to Games Workshop. What destroyed them was not Games Workshop itself doing anything different. They didn't change their rules much. They launched third edition in the early 2000s, which may have promoted their game, because if I actually own all these other games, I'm not like talking out my ass. I have all these versions of the games, and I've played each of these games before, and they do have clunky rules. Even like Rogue Trader had clunky rules in it. I think what killed those games compared to Games Workshop is Games Workshop went away from pewter models into plastic kits that had way more customability. The models had better proportions, and the people were able to build the things that they wanted, the different sizes. And I might be crazy. I may be totally off beat here, but I almost guarantee out of the three of us, I'm the one that's like more into these 4 different versions of the game than you guys. I know a lot about these three other universes.
Fair to say.
And
Yeah.
they all 3 of those other games, they have nothing but pewter models. Nothing but pewter models.
But I hear all the time people complaining about plastic. Well, the older folks. I hear a lot of people who've been around for a really long time talk about missing metal sculpted by hand.
Yeah, but those guys are gonards. Like I have
grognards.
Grognards. I have a ton of. I just bought $25 worth of old Warzone miniatures today. Almost all capital. There's 5 poses. Out of those like 38 models, there's 5 different poses.
I mean,
if I wanted to change any of those poses, I would have to get out my saw and saw things off and find a piece that fit right. You know, like not any saw, a jeweler's saw with a jeweler's blade, and then my jeweler's blade could break, and then I have to replace it. It's not easy to replace pewter models, miniatures, and convert them all to look different.
No, and I mean,
I definitely agree with you.
That's kind of why I'm holding up. I'm doing a Marcher World Hunter right now. Like, there's 2 sculpts,
a male and a female. Yeah, I have both. I have 2 of the female and 3 of the male.
Do you think Warcaster would have had a better initial release if their minis were not metal?
100%.
Okay, so then if I can add on to that question, do you think War Machine Mark IV would have been better if their kits were more posable? Because I know we talked about the cost the last episode that I was on.
Exhaustively, yes.
But what about the 3D sculpts? Because I know I've got a couple of mini crates, but the mini crates are just that. They're single miniatures that are supposed to be mono pose because they're limited edition. You'd want them to be posed the way that they are.
Right.
But Brewski, when you were putting together the new racist
Dusk.
murder elves,
Dusk.
the House of Dusk, you got the Warcaster himself, you got 2 jacks and 5 guys? 6 guys?
Nope. No, it's more than that.
No.
You got the smaller version.
Yeah, no, I only got the small version, and oddly
the Warcaster and 2 jacks.
Oddly enough, sitting right here, so I can actually show you guys while we're talking about this, I guess.
How posable were the jacks?
Not very.
They're not posable at all. They just get the magnets to change out weapons.
Let me show you. So, I have everything magnetized. This is the Eidolon. This is the light jack. Okay. So this is one piece. They're
literally the same amount of posability in those light jacks and look, they're still on 40 mil bases. They didn't bump up the 50s.
Okay. So hang on. I gotta change my view just so I can see what I'm showing you guys, because I'm seeing myself like many.
I know how large, I know how tall you are, so I have a really good frame of reference of how big your hands are, and man, that jack would dwarf the old light jacks, right?
Yeah, but it's about the same size as a light jack from Warcaster.
Well, yeah, because I have those right here. I can literally accommodate too many things. So you can see the base size.
Yeah. See, it told you it looks almost exactly the same, except for it's on a 40 mil base instead of 50.
Well, here, let me put a head and some frickin' arms on, just so we're not totally compensating here. Anyway, the magnetization is decent, but you don't have tons of options, just being real. Like the way, I don't know if you can see it, but the way that slot works, you see how it's more like an oval.
Mm-hmm.
The magnet's actually further in. Same thing with the actual piece of the arm. So it goes kind of like this. And it sits pretty well.
So
But
they've got kind of like a like battle formation, but not necessarily battle pose.
right.
It's one of the things I really liked about that
I think
ISA.
there's some battle pose in there. It's just not.
Well, the ISA Jack, I love the pose on the ISA Jack with the one armed up because he looks really good when he's got the shield.
He's like looking like, yeah, I'm gonna shank you, bro.
And they do offer, you get 2 different poses for each of those jacks, but you got to buy the expansion box for the second pose.
And what you can do, like, yeah, you can either buy the one jack, magnetize everything, and then just buy the weapon packs, which is good. Or you can buy, if you want multiple jacks, yeah, you just get the A and the B, do their thing. So,
And so
do you think that it would have been better if they would have made it more parts more posable? Because I remember when I first got their hard plastic kit for, I think I've actually got a couple. I've got the Kraken hard plastic kit. I've got the let's see, the Kraken. I've got the what was the name of the Colossal for Menoth?
yeah, but the colossals aren't really posable all that much at all. You basically have to build them exactly like
Yeah.
you have
but
2 variants and you build them that variants.
I got the Indictor kit for Menoth, the one that has the sword and board, and then the one with the halberd.
Yeah, there's little
node.
bits, but you can't really do too much with it. Yeah.
Even the
could do.
Even the only kit that came out with like a bunch of variants for in hard plastic from Privateer Press would be the Mad, not the Mad. Mad Dog was one of the variants.
You're right.
The
Mad
Berserker.
Dog, Berserker.
It
Yeah, I
had
got
3
that.
variants: the Mad Dog, the Berserker, and the third variant, which nobody ever played.
The
Maybe you want
Crix
1 or
Heavy,
2 people.
The Crix Heavy had quite a few, and I think the
Did it have 3 variants? I don't think it had 3.
It had the. I've got the box underneath my bed in a tote somewhere.
The Ret ones did too. The Manicore, the Hydra, and the Demon.
Oh, they did.
Those come
And then
out
you
with
had
hard
the
plastic?
Banshee. Yeah,
They did. Yeah, it was the last hard plastic kit they did.
It.
Yeah, I had
didn't
that.
see those in hard plastic.
The Phoenix Demon.
It was the Phoenix Resculpt, Pat.
Hydra, yeah.
But anyways,
Well,
yeah. So those kits, even those kits, being in hard plastic, they weren't any more posable or movable than your rustic version of those. They just were hollow, so they were lighter.
Right.
I think that maybe Privateer Press could have, and I've heard some other people talk about this. Dan Farner, one of our buddies from El Paso, talks about this quite well. He thinks that they should have stayed with the hard plastics. I think maybe Privateer could have looked for somebody local in America that does it. There's no reason that they could get their kits done cheaper than or for less than what they're paying than War Games Atlantic. If War Games Atlantic could give us the sprues that they're giving us for as cheap as they're giving us, there's no reason Privateer can't do that.
Okay.
Maybe they don't know who to talk to. Maybe they think they need a better quality. I'm not sure. I'm not in the company as much. They gave up on hard plastic well before they should have because they concentrated their hard plastics on the huge mechs and the huge colossuses that nobody's going to buy more than one of.
Well, yeah, but look at the other fiasco they had of what was it? They outsourced that, and then someone had literally like hijacked half of their sculpts. Like you couldn't get, you couldn't get that one kit because it was freaking hijacked, and they were getting into IP battles over the damn thing.
Yeah, and now you can go buy a Khador.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They didn't do the research
for like $5.
They didn't do the research that they should have done. They just went with some random Chinese company, which we all know, like, who here hasn't heard of China Cast?
Yeah.
Right? you can't give shit to China without them reproducing it and giving it away because there's no fucking IP law in China, right?
Yeah, they definitely overcorrected. I don't know.
Uh,
Time will tell. Time will tell on that. But I don't think that Privateer Press could do any worse than giving their IP to a video game company. Because who wouldn't want to play a video game where you're playing as Strakov, being super spy in a steampunk world?
Metal Gear Strakoff. Yeah.
Dude, that'd be
me,
so cool. I would play that.
I don't think I
Um,
would.
I'd also play. I'd also play the like a Warjack um gladiatorial pit. I'd play that.
I
I'd
would
play.
possibly play the Warjack Gladiatorial Pit if I could also have War Beast in there.
Yes, of course, but only as DLC.
Nope. If DLC, I'm out. I ain't paying for it.
And then yeah, like I would even do like a Signar guy who is in the forest and he's like, he gets separated from his squad and he's got to fight all of these like winter corps soldiers, and then like the trolls are coming out of the forest, and then you've got to like do all that fun stuff where like uh I don't know, maybe a dire troll comes out, or wow, why can't I think of what's the really ugly light war beast from Circle? Why can't I think of that
The
guy's
Argus
name?
Hounds?
No,
Gorax.
the
The
Gorax,
Rager. Yeah.
fighting a Gorax Rager. That would be really cool. Playing like a Signar and Trencher who is trying to fight Kador and then gets stuck in the forest, and you're just trying to like report back with intel.
I can tell you
All
right
right.
now that's going to play like Resistance, just because you're going to keep running into different kind of baddies with different kind of skills, and you're going to shoot the bejesus out of them.
If there
Either
was
that one or Republic
if there was
Commando.
Yeah.
one game that Privateer could put out that would have drew me in and actually got me to play their game, is that they had done their RPG rule set as a video game, not their miniature rule set.
Would you do it as an MMO, or would you do it as something closer to the single player Neverwinter Nights experience?
I would rather prefer more like a Neverwinter Nights or a Baldur's Gate game myself, but I think
Mm-hmm.
an MMO would have sold better because at that point, MMOs were the rage because everybody was playing Guild Wars, everybody was playing World of Warcraft. That's the MMO had taken over by that point, and I personally I hate MMOs, but and that's why I don't probably play as much gaming online and why I haven't bought Warhammer online or
So when you
Elder
say
Scrolls Online.
right, but when you say that you'd play their their actual role playing game rules, do you mean you'd play it as like a turn based strategy type game?
No, I would want it to be either like Baldur's Gate or Neverwinter Nights.
Oh, okay, so kind of it's a strategy game, strategy
Because
role
in
playing.
Baldur's Gate plays almost exactly like Neverwinter Nights, except for it's the second edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragon rules, and you
Yeah,
make a
and the
party of people
isometric.
as you go on. Whereas Neverwinter Nights is third edition rules, except for you get a buddy that follows you around and you never really make a party. It's just you and your buddy.
Yeah,
You occasionally go,
unless
so
you
you're
play it
finally
online.
awake.
Right. If you play online, you could play the single player game with up to four. Or was it 8 people? I can't remember.
I think it was 4.
Yeah, it might have been four.
It's been a
Um,
long time since I even touched Neverwinter Nights.
Divinity Original Sin 2 is also, you could play their campaign with 4 people. And personally, that's the table size I like when I run my RPGs. But do you
But
think that would
Diablo was
sell?
super popular, and that was only like 1 to 4 people. And
Okay, so there's a question. Do you think that a game like Skyrim or Diablo would, even though it doesn't pay any homage to the rules, but does really well with the established lore, do you think that would sell better?
Probably.
Because I do. I
you
think
mean
it would sell better.
if they took Diablo or Elder Scrolls and turned them into video game or miniature games?
No, I'm saying if they took War Machine and turned it into either a Diablo or a Skyrim game.
Yeah, for sure. I think that would have been way better than what they did.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. See, and that's the same thing as like the War Machine game. you know, the the amount of people who like turn-based strategy games and then the amount of people who like War Machine was already a small pool of
So
people.
so like basically, if you're playing the War Machine RP or computer game that came out, you're just playing the miniature game on a computer,
Yeah, but somehow it
and
actually
you're
took longer to
super
play.
and you're super limited on your choices. You only get to choose the one Warcaster, right? Am I
Uh-huh.
crazy? Am I not right?
Yep.
I've
No, they came
watched.
out with download packs where you could play.
Well, yeah, you'd have to pay more money to play them, but if you just wanted to play the base game, you only got the one guy.
Yeah.
And it was a guy. So if you're a female gamer, you had to play as a
No,
guy,
it was
right?
you played as Jace.
Main character was a girl. Yeah.
Oh, a girl. That's my bad. All right, yeah. I only so the first person I saw play it was our mutual friend Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he
Miranda
actually
played through the entire game.
well
Yeah,
Kenny
it's on the
actually
channel.
kickstarted it,
Yeah.
and then to be honest, Kenny kickstarted it, and then he got super mad because I think it delivered like 7 or 8 months late, and then he didn't even ever get the miniatures for it. I don't
That
remember
right there I would
all.
have been mad about.
I don't even
Frustrating.
remember all what miniatures where he was offered, and I might be mistaken on
It was
everything, but
should have been the four juniors
he was
with alternate
so
skulls.
so sassy and pissed about this that when he finally got the game itself, he told him he didn't want the game until he got the miniatures.
That sounds like something Kenny would do.
Uh I he was living with me at the time. I was renting him a room, and he was just super butthurt about it. And I watched him play it 1 or 2 times, and then he was done. And but Kenny's a super special person. We all know, and I love Kenny to death. But he's not the type of person that's going to be caught up in a video game for long, unless that video game super interesting. So
Well,
I
like I
think
said,
he got burned out on it pretty hard. And then we all
Wargamer Girl played the whole thing.
did you play the whole thing? I
Yeah,
only
she
watched
Yeah, it's
like
on the
two or
channel.
three
she
episodes of it.
videoed the whole thing.
Well, I only watched 2 or 3 episodes of it, and in those 2 or 3 episodes, I was already bored of it because that's not how you'd play the miniature game, even though it's basically the miniature game on a computer.
Yep.
Yeah,
Whole thing.
they tried hard, but so it was like, I don't know, last year or 2 years ago, Matt Wilson put out a 3D render of Coleman Striker.
Uh-huh.
It was like big things are coming, and then there was nothing after that. And then they killed Coleman Striker in the fluff. Like, damn, that
Yeah,
wasn't
duh,
very well
that's the
timed
big
at
thing that
all.
came.
Yeah. I was like, that wasn't very well timed at all. And so here I was like thinking, are they going to do an animated show? Are they going to do another video game?
You know what? I think animation might have been where Privateer could have went and sold.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
I
not
always talk
like
about this is the anthology, like an anthology that just
Animatrix style shorts. Yeah.
yeah, and just basing them off of the Iron Kingdom's excursions would have been
and
great.
maybe that's what Matt was going for because he is super like he wants to be a Hollywood star.
Well, I'm
I
worried that he's gonna do the Gygax thing and go down to California and do a drug bender and not come back.
he lives in California. He lives in Hollywood.
How does he not live in Seattle where his games company
You,
is?
you didn't know that Matt Wilson lived in Hollywood?
No. Otherwise, I'd probably
Yeah.
pay
No, I
him a
didn't.
visit.
No,
Hey, Bruce
Matt
Campbell,
Wilson lives in Hollywood. His company is in Seattle. He from what I understand, he FaceTimes everybody when he needs like entire crew. And maybe I'm wrong, but I'm 99% sure I'm right. I've actually met people that work there uh multiple times. He doesn't live up here. I live up here. He doesn't live up here.
Well, he watches, he's subscribed to the channel, so he'll probably check in on us and be like, damn it. Now I gotta move.
Matt Wilson, if you are listening, take notes, man. If there's anything that I could do to make Privateer Press successful, I will do it. The problem is I just feel like that game is leaving me behind. Those damn kids in their 3D prints.
You know what? I'm telling you right now, the thing that's killing me on War Machine, and I went to Olympic Carbs and Comics today. It's the biggest game store within 60 miles of me. The only one that's closer to bigger is Mox Gaming, which is in Seattle or just outside of Seattle. Uh, it has the biggest Warhammer or War Machine community I know, Their War Machine selection in the 6 years I've lived up here has gone from ginormous, where it covered 2 walls, to it has five little the little, what you call them, that you,
Shelflets.
well, no, the little hooks that you hook into the back wall,
Oh yeah.
and 5 boxes of the new editions starter boxes. I was surprised that they actually had the new edition starter boxes there, all at
You know,
$200 plus tax.
I mean,
so one of the things.
same kind of deal out here. We had Game Empire Odyssey Games used to have a huge War Machine sort of aisle. Nothing. They just scrapped it.
Rough. Did they have like a really big sale?
Yeah, I don't know
I
what they did
think
here, but it's been all replaced with D&D miniatures between uh the WizKid Deep Cuts, the WizKid Matt Mercer version of their miniatures.
But Brewski, did yours have a big sale?
I think they did, and I think that was A, partly due to the pandemic. B, the owner at the time had passed away, and
Oh, rough.
they basically were like, we're not sure if we're going to be here. We're probably going to close. Someone stepped in and bought the store, rebranded slightly, kept all the other guys on, and then all of a sudden there were changes in games. And yeah, I went in one day and it was like new signage, same kind of guys, and absolutely zero privateer press.
And I hear that about a lot of local game stores, and a lot of local game stores got burned really hard when Privateer Press stopped supplying Alliance and Golden with their product.
It was the
And I'm
same
not
thing
sure
with
that's still the case. They might have gotten back with giving them stuff, but when I left MGS down in El Paso, we couldn't get anything from Privateer through Alliance anymore.
Rough.
I had the same thing with, and I actually talked with the owner of Gameology down here, and he'd actually reached out to me on Facebook, and he'd said, hey, we do want to get Privateer in here. If you want to order stuff, please go to the store, especially when the Mark IV starters dropped and when Warcaster was kind of making a swing back. I don't know that his guys got the message though, because they were like scratching their heads, like, yeah, we don't know, yeah, it's not really popular, nobody plays, and I was just like, bull crap.
And as decent as the rules for War Machine, when I ran tournaments, I never failed to get less than 8 people, and that's pretty decent for El Paso. Like when I'd run 40K tournaments that I didn't advertise as a major ITC event, 8 to 12 people would be my average. And War Machine was 12 people almost always. Now the Warhammer tournaments would be different people almost. I'd get 6 people that were like the same people, but I always get 3 to 4 new people or 3 to 4 old people that came back. Uh, and depending on what I was offering for prize support or anything, the Warhammer would fluctuate. But the War Machine, it would be 8 people, same 8 people, always those 8 people. And I could name names. I know every single one of their names. And if I will say them if you guys don't mind. They're all really good guys. I love them all to death. I would go back to El Paso right now to play with any of them.
Baller.
So it's Richard Mitchell would always come no matter what.
Yep.
James, his
Yep.
friend Chris, and his buddy Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
We had a guy named Guillermo who was really cool. He switched through factions constantly. That was our core 5. Those 5 people the entire time I was in El Paso were at every single War Machine event I ever ran. Then we had some soldiers like Jeremy Miller, good guy. He maybe was had some rough edges that you could work out, but good enough guy overall. And then Gage and Ignacio, all soldiers, so they were randoms. You never knew if you were going to get them or not get them.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we would have on top of those 3, Patty and his wife Kitty play, and then Jason Lantrip, another good guy. Jason would randomly bring people in. For a while we got a guy named Jason Timbrook would play. Daniel Farner, another soldier, he'd play if he had time or wasn't in the field. So all these guys were like, but 8 people. I never ever almost never had less than 8 people, and I would always be the ringer because I was a TO, and very rarely did I actually have to play a game. Before I became the TO, before me, there was the TO was an officer in the army. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was a dick.
Well, hey,
Possibly Richard.
don't be a dick.
Well,
Possibly Richard.
not Richard Mitchell dick, but yes, a dick. And he still couldn't get above 8. It was always 8 players. That never could get above 8 players for. We might have like maxed at 12, but like 8 players seemed to be the average. I would line up 3 tables, 6 by 12, put toppers on them, lay down mats, and the mats, those 3 tables with 4 by 4 mats would be well more than I needed to actually run a tournament usually. So and El Paso is not huge. It's I think the 5th biggest town in Texas. Eight gamers constantly playing War Machine, even though there's probably 20 people in the El Paso area that would play War Machine. For a tournament, 8.
Sounds about right.
Well,
Yeah, we yeah, that's we've gone all over the subject on that one.
Well, I think we've talked a lot about video games. A lot. We've covered video games quite a bit, and why. You know what? So, is there a video game, or is there a property out there that you think could use a video game to help support it?
that's
I
not
can't
War
think
Machine.
of that. Well, I mean, we know War Machine's had a video game. Is there a current game out there that you think needs the support of a video game?
Well, I think like Brewski's been getting into Infinity recently, as well as his Warcaster.
I honestly
What kind of
think,
video game would you play for Infinity?
I mean, that would be your siphon filter style espionage shooter, really, if I think you came down to it. I don't know that it needs it because it's so grounded from like Ghost in the Shell. That's one of the types of things where it's like you want inspiration for that, you just go watch the anime.
Oh, okay. So, all right. And then I'm trying to think of one that I didn't already talk about because, of course, War Machine is my biggest thing. I would love to play a War Machine video game, but oh, come on, Patty, think. I almost think a Frostgrave game would be fun, but
So, well, hold on, Pat. Before you move on, So, you like Frostgrave?
Mhm.
Have you tried the Mordheim video game?
I was gonna go that way.
Because I feel like the Mordheim video game would give you the feel of Frostgrave if you built one of your characters to be like your wizard.
Yeah, but have you guys ever played Overlord?
Yeah.
The Xbox game. You
Overlord.
played an evil armored warlock guy that commanded a bunch of goblins.
Yep.
I know it doesn't. I'm not a video gamer.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I kind of figured. Well, Brewski has. Like, I think there's a couple of IPs that would do well with the video game that even runs similar to that, right? Where it's not like over the top Dawn of War, but somewhere kind of in between. It's still kind of a strategy war game.
Reasonably, yeah.
And it's all in real time. What about Brewski? Have you ever played Brutal Legend?
No, I do know about it, but no.
Yeah, so Brutal Legend was one of those funky ones. It disguised itself as an action hack and slasher, and then about a third of the way into the game, it was also a real-time strategy where you'd set up your sound and stage, and like you'd have your different units. Like there's the headbangers that were really good at destroying obstacles, and then you'd have the riffers that could do guitar solos and like melt people's faces and stuff. And then you had your main hero. And so this is one of the things I was talking about for War Machine was like War Machine game that played well like that, where you'd have your Warcaster going on solo missions, maybe with a warjack, maybe without a warjack. And then you'd get into these skirmishes where you'd actually have like a big battle and you'd have like 2 or 3 warjacks that were running around just like they do on the tabletop, and then doing kind of like these tower defense space battle type stuff. But I think a lot of tabletop war games would do really well to meld that real-time strategy with action excitement the way that game did. Games like Infinity, like you were saying with Siphon Filter or Perfect Dark,
Yep.
Well,
would
you know,
do really well.
if I was trying to find someone to play Infinity with, the first thing, and I knew they were a video gamer, the first thing I would ask them is, have you played Cyberpunk? Was it 2049 or whatever it is? The one
The
with
newest one is 2077.
yeah, that Cyberpunk 2077, because that's basically Infinity.
Yep. That's probably the closest video game thing to it right now.
How many people do you think that played Cyberpunk 2077 actually picked up the Cyberpunk Red starter book for free and played that?
Not sure.
I don't know.
I have a buddy actually that used to tell me about the before 77 came out. He had played the tabletop version, and this was one of the big things he wanted to get going, or the
I actually
RPG
had heard
version.
of the tabletop version before I heard of the video game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I remember
And-
seeing the trailer for it.
And because I'd heard of the
17 years ago.
tabletop version of it, I ended up signing up for a Patreon from a guy called what's he called? Hold on. Just a second.
Let's just call him Bob.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
Bob.
And he puts out a lot of cyberpunk stuff. And they were really, really nice. Unit 9. Unit 9 is the actual
Oh
name.
yeah, Unit 9.
And then they ended up putting out a game called Human Interface Nakamura Towers, which is basically
Die Hard.
between Die Hard if you were a bunch of
Welcome to the
cyberpunk
party,
dudes,
pal.
a bunch of dudes inside a building that could be in cyberspace as well. So yeah, that's totally Ghost in the Shell slash Infinity, but less Infinity because there's way more cyberpunk in it.
And I guess that's just kind of where I'm at. Rounding out the discussion is there's a lot more people who played Dawn of War who got into the tabletop hobby than there were people who playing Skyrim got into tabletop hobby. I mean, maybe if they played Skyrim, they got into Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe if they played Dawn of War, they got into Warhammer. But not a lot of people played Cyberpunk, got into the Cyberpunk game. But a lot of people who were playing the Cyberpunk RPG picked up the Cyberpunk game.
Is it maybe because of the time frame that those games came out?
Maybe.
Like Dawn of War came out in the early 2000s, 2006, 7 time frame, I think, right? The original Dawn of War,
I'm not sure.
and probably got its big push during like the 2012-13 when Dawn of War 2 came out. And I want to say that's right when Games Workshop had taken back over from Privateer Press and was pushing back. Like they were like, oh, we're introducing ourselves back to the community. We're putting out our videos where we show you how to paint. So like they did a blitz. I want to say around 2012 is when Games Workshop did their blitz. We started seeing major tournaments come back into the US. We got the Feast of Blades tournament, the huge invitational tournament where you could only go if you won a local tournament that would invite you into their bigger tournament. Then LVO the next year after that, and then major tournaments across America because of the ITC, right? So that like huge growth for Warhammer 40K because of between Feast of Blades and LVO and the ITC, I think. I want to say that the tournament scene drove Warhammer up huge here in America in like the last 10 years.
It has. I'm sure.
I hate tournament scenes myself. I hate them. I did the tournament scene for 6 years and it burned me out because I'm not a tournament player. I'm a narrative player.
I certainly like
because
running
my
tournaments. I
friends.
don't like playing.
I don't hate running tournaments. I could run tournaments all the time. And I don't mind ruling against even my best friends if they do something I think is wrong.
Yeah, because my favorite part is doing the painting competition.
But playing inside a tournament where I like to play a fluffy list and knowing that my list is not going to even get in the top 10 because I ran this that's not competitive, but it's super fluffy.
That's the reason why I like narrative campaigns.
But the tournament scene in Warhammer definitely drove the Warhammer up here.
Yeah,
And I
it's
think it
so
started,
funny.
I think it really started around 2007, 2008, maybe 2009, where at that same time frame, a lot of these other companies weren't doing the same thing. Well, War Machines tournaments started getting huge around the same time as well, and they had way more customer interaction, but they got to the point where like you had unpainted models on unpainted terrain, and it was all flat terrain, and it was all about like the precision of the game. And whereas Warhammer, it was like, how beautiful can you paint your models? Let's do these painting competitions. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Because I went to multiple tournaments over a 10-year period between 2010 to 2020. I was in the tournament scene huge. And during that time frame, War Machine started off decent and then took a huge nosedive around 2015, 2016, where Warhammer, they opened up to the community, they started asking for feedback, they kicked War Machine in the ass.
Yeah, but War Machine did that with the CID.
No, CID
And
was a fucking joke.
all people did was complain about it.
CID was a joke. You never asked your fucking community to give you rules.
Just feedback.
If you ask your community to do your rules for you, all you're going to get is the top tier people for every tournament to say this is the rule and this is why. And then you know what that does? The casual gamer like me feels like I'm not heard of because I only play fluffy rules and you aren't listening to me. So I don't even fucking care about your game anymore.
I mean, I still do because I still love my trolls. I've
I
played
mean,
trolls when they
yeah,
were shit.
I
And when they
love
were good, I wasn't playing the good trolls.
I love Scorn. I think Scorn is the coolest faction that they ever put out.
Oh, dude, get the mini crate for June. It's like an
But
Anubis style immortal. You're gonna love it.
I can't.
but
I finally ended my mini crate subscription. I just
yeah,
couldn't
I'm in the
afford
same
it.
boat. Mini crate is done to me. That I was so many things that I wanted, and then they were like ridiculously way behind on schedule.
Well, they finally started catching up.
But also, they killed their Conan and their Legend of the Five Rings mini crates.
Yeah, they did it. They just let it silently go in the night. Anyway, is there any rounding out thoughts that we wanted to have?
I'm looking at the state of my ISA and marchers, and I'm very depressed.
No, don't be depressed.
No.
I was like, I'm just starting. Like, I've mainly worked on the ISA. I just started throwing colors on, like, I'm just starting on this hunter for the marchers. And
What color scheme are you thinking for the marchers? Are you trying to match their studio colors, or
nope.
are you going for?
Hell no. Marchers are gonna the basic gist. The marchers are gonna be like this off-white kind of gray. That my light is
That's a
flaring
Reaper
disorderly.
miniature, right?
Yeah, this is Reaper paint. This is gonna be Vampiric Mist. It's like an off-white kind of super bright gray armor.
Okay.
Dark blue cloth. This is huge minis.
Nice.
Fluorescent orange energy.
Oh, all right.
So that
So
literally
a lot less actual like blending into their background. They're gonna be more infinity color schemed almost.
well, this was literally that one. I sent you that one picture of the Gundam when we were talking about Gundams and
Oh
anime for color
yeah. I
schemes.
remember. Yep.
That's literally this.
So for my Marcher Worlds, I started with a green base coat, and I want to say it was like almost a sack bomber green. Uh, Unfortunately, the green I sprayed on the wrong day of the week, and some of my models got a little too thick, so I had to strip them. And since then, I've been worried about finishing up what I have.
Yep.
But I do need to get back to them. I want to finish those marchers off, and so my marchers are going to be more Rebel Alliance from Star Wars and/or Strike Team's color scheme.
Nice.
Uh, Whereas if I do end up buying into the Arvernus Continuum, I do think I will go closer to their box art colors.
I'm gonna alter that a little bit, and I'm gonna make it the Is It Red and Blue?
And
And
I do like what you're doing with your ISA though. That bluish green is a really nice
that is, yeah.
color.
And I found out, by the way, the huge mini fluorescence. Check this out.
Oh
Shit.
yeah, glow in the dark.
Hang on.
Oh, nice.
It's mainly on
Yeah, you can see it
Paladin,
on that guy with the paladin with the
the
huge
Aegis, and these dudes. Yeah,
yeah, with that big backpack piece, you can see it really good. And the front piece on his weapon.
but yeah, you can
Oh,
see
that's awesome.
like the bottle's gonna freaking glow. I love their fluorescence. That's really cool.
I've been looking at their miniatures, huge miniatures paints a little bit. Today, actually, I managed to pick up Howard Hughes's one of his bottles of paints from the um Monday Night Productions game table at the up here, the local historical gaming convention called oh, why am I having a ridiculous space in my brain right now?
I don't know.
Enfilade. Enfilade. So we had Enfilade up here for the next 3 days. I went to day one, just kind of did a walk around, looked at some of the games. A lot of Flames of War, a lot of Dragon, Lion, and Xenos Rampant being played. So it was really cool. Lots of cool tables put up. And I managed to get some really good deals on some older miniatures. But
Good
nice.
deal.
I think next year I'm going to try to do something at Enfilade myself.
Cool. Maybe I'll be able to go.
Maybe
Well,
Brewski will be able to go.
it's usually towards the Memorial Day weekend, I believe. Enfilade is always towards Memorial Day weekend. And usually they have some type of theme. And so if we want to run it 1 or 2 days, they do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. So just keep me informed, and I'm more than welcome to register us. And like between the 2 or 3 of us, I think we could run a full weekend event.
If I get that way, then yeah, I'll let you know. Kind of business as usual for me right now.
Yeah, and usually
Right.
they have some type of theme. So like this year theme was desert warfare, which made me think about printing out a bunch of stuff from Skullford Miniatures Dune series of miniatures and running a Xenos Rampant thing with it, but time just did not agree with me.
I know how that goes.
Well, anything for the newsy news you guys want to talk about?
I do have some Kickstarters I would like to address that people might be interested in.
Yes.
So
As do I.
if you are an awesome Kickstarter type person and you're super interested in them, do your research always, because as we know that some Kickstarters do not go through and you
Not
end up
every
losing money.
Kickstarter is created equal.
Some Kickstarters do not start, they simply kick in the balls.
So, Saucer Man Studios is putting out their Zirconium Prison Mines Terrain STL packs. Super awesome terrain. They do give you a free sample miniature to print out in as well. Check it out. It has about 25 days left on them. Really cool sci-fi grim darkish type terrain. Can be used for Necromunda, Mannix Firefight, Stargrave, 5 Parsecs from Home, uh, any of those games, and they are resin printable. So if you have only a resin printer, you should be able to no problem print these files.
Mm-hmm.
So look them out. Their free sample model is a mega drill. Looks pretty cool. There is also from Printable Scenery, and if you are a subscriber to Mini Wargaming, you've probably seen this before because they're currently running their Age of Sigmar campaign using some of this terrain, is their Glooming Swamps. So it's swampy type terrain. Some of it's very orky, some of it's like human terrain that's been swallowed up by swamps. If that's something you're interested in, check it out. It has about 30 days, 28 days left, I think. My bad. 18 days left to go.
Time's running out.
I must have not been a full 30-day launch on that one. But super beautiful train. Both on tabletop and mini wargaming have talked about it. If you're a video gamer and also interested in board games, there's Apex Legends. It only has 12 days left on it, but is basically a board game using the Apex Legends style miniatures within a board game. So it looks like they're normal 28 to 32 millimeter miniatures in a board game similar to like Zombicide style. But in Apex Legends, I have unfortunately never played the game, but I know about the universe due to action figures that actually scale well with G.I. Joe Origins. Um, and they're really cool. They got some cool guys that I would like to use maybe in my Dead Zone Rebs army thing. So check them out if you're into that type of stuff. And then it will launch, I think, in 2 more days. Mini Wargamings and Wargames Atlantic are launching the Damned through Game Forge, I believe is what it's called. And those are basically chaosified Imperial Guardsmen. And they have both, well, they have 3 options. You have the regular guardsmen, actually 4 options, because you got the regular guardsmen, you got their command group, you have the heavy weapons guardsmen, and then you have like the Ogren guardsmen. And they sell the boxes. You can get an individual box, a triple box. They still have only a pre-launch box because it doesn't go live until I believe tomorrow. It might be even the day after tomorrow. I haven't looked at it in a few days, but they've both mini war games and on tabletop have put out videos on it, and you can find them on both Twitter and Instagram if you were following them. And they look beautiful. They go really well with the other War Games Atlantic lines, such as Space Nam and the Bulldogs or the Gonards. So check those out if you're into that line. Really awesome miniatures that could be used as casified Imperial Guardsmen in Warhammer or one-page rules.
Sweet.
Sounds
Patty,
fun. What's that?
I think you had a couple Kickstarters, Patty.
Just the one. My buddy Venger Satanis he as of recording. So right now there's 4 days left. He's reached funding, but he's trying to get funding for a couple of web comics for his role-playing game settings. So you get the Chalt, and they're all illustrated by one of my favorite artists of the century, Jay Tanaka at Jay Tanaka, I believe, on Twitter. But super fun artist if you're kind of into a grittier, somewhat more adult Adventure Time. You can get in on this Kickstarter, and you could also buy Venger's books. If you hit the hardcover trilogy of Chalt, you can also help support the comic. You get the web comic, but also one of the cool things that Venger's doing with this Kickstarter is he is going to subsidize people who want to make Chalt zines or zines that exist inside of the worlds of Venger Satanis. So stuff like Alpha Blue and Counter Critical and Chalt. So just something to think about. He's trying to kick the indie creator zine into high gear by putting his money down on top of indie creators. So I think that's really cool. It's super generous of the guy. I think he's going to be the new father of the modern era of RPGs. So that's something to look out. And then our buddy Primarch, Eric, We talked a little bit about him in a previous episode, but I'm not sure if the episode was released. He finally got his job, but he's still selling his book over at Big Geek Emporium. And I believe it's called Realm of Heroes. So pick that up, help that guy get some furniture for his new apartment that he's going to be getting. And then lastly, there's always a way to support this podcast directly. Any money that gets put into my books over at Big Geek Emporium, which are free. So if you search Patty's Parlor at Big Geek Emporium, you'll find my books, The Boy from Esteos and Mutants, and they are free / pay what you want. Any money that gets into that will find its way into supporting this podcast, either by, getting us to actually get some webcam stuff on here. Maybe we'll all be painting or whatever have you. Or we could buy Brewski a couple of beers. keep
Brewski some brewskis.
I don't buy beer. I only buy whiskey.
Yeah, exactly. And Jeremy's got expensive tastes, so that is something to think about.
I can use another bottle right now.
I am just going to go ahead and show a little bit for Patty here. Now, oddly enough, we did talk about this on the last episode where Patty was out and it was me, Budgie, and Jeremy. I'm just going to say it. Patty has a pay what you want feature for the Big Geek Emporium stuff. Guys, show him some love, please. If you've gotten Mutants, if you've enjoyed his content, if you've enjoyed this podcast, I'm not even saying it for that reason, but show Patty some love, man. Come on. The guy puts out a great product. Back him up if you're able. It's not a lot. It's not a huge thing. And it probably goes a long way.
I appreciate that. Mostly reviews. I also wanted to thank Jeremy. He helped my wife do an early birthday Christmas present, and they seized an opportunity to get in on one of Anycubics like clearance sales on one of their 3D printers. So I'll be getting a new 3D printer here soon. And I'm thinking about doing some giveaways with some 3D sculpts that I'll be doing through Titancraft Minis. So there's a possibility that people are going to start finding mutants crash landing into their mail and PO boxes after I get it set up and dialed in, because I'll be doing some giveaways if people are leaving reviews, not even on my products, just going to Big Geek Emporium. There's another feller, Giant Slayer Games. He's opening up his own web store, and the Red Room. I'll be doing giveaways that have a lot to deal with purchasing books from those people and or leaving reviews. So keep a lookout for me over at Twitter. The username is at Patio Cakes and Patty Parlor's Games, Patty's Parlor Games. And I'll be trying to do some giveaways. The other thing I'm doing for a giveaway right now, my friends at Nerd Cognito, they're on their quest to 1,000 followers. And if they hit 1,000 followers here soon, they'll be I donated a art commission. So if you follow Nerd Cognito and you retweet and like their announcement tweet, then you'll be entered in to get a character art commission from yours truly.
Hey, all I know is that there better be a awesome Jeremy Schwarzenegger miniature.
I'll be back for more whiskey.
Definitely. Stick around.
It's not a tumor. Everybody down.
Get to the chopper.
You're trying to take my tortillas. One man, one goal. He sold tortillas on the corner.
I ran up behind her with the hadron and I went smash, smash, smash.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you guys have seen that TikTok.
No, I haven't, but
I do vaguely remember they're trying to take my tortillas.
I forget his name, but he was doing Pablo Francisco, and he does a lot of really good imitations. And one of them he literally did basically like a trailer for Arnold Schwarzenegger, Little Tortilla Boy. He sold tortillas on the corner. Maria, listen to me. I don't know why, but they are trying to take my tortillas.
There is a ridiculously good one, and he's on TikTok. Unfortunately, I've been inundated on TikTok because of my best friend. And it's a guy who imitates Arnold Schwarzenegger using AI, and The AI voice with deep fake faces, and
Oh, like
the one I just
Pretty Woman.
referenced. So the one, he did a Pretty Woman one, yep. And then the one I just referenced is Kai the Surfer. So you could find it. Arnold Schwarzenegger as Kai the Surfer on TikTok. I saw it today. It was hilarious. Sorry.
No worries. Alrighty. Well, I ought to get to bed.
Yeah,
I
same.
got some
It
fishing to do in the morning.
oh my God, it is pretty late. I have to do some videos tomorrow as well as get a Age of Sigmar Path to Glory game in.
Oh, dude, wish you the best of luck.
I'm playing ogres, so Slaves of Darkness versus ogres. Wish me luck.
Well, good luck to
Brewski,
you,
thanks for
Jer.
having us as always.
Yeah, thanks for. I know it's kind of late, but thanks for rolling by and getting into it.
Mm-hmm. Well, hope to see you all here next week.
Yeah,
I know
and
I'm always excited for it.
Patty is. And just so you guys know, like we like feedback. If you want us to shut the hell up or ask more specific questions, or if you have things you want to say, the three of us are on Twitter. You can leave comments. I allow all comments. I am not a YouTube censorship lover. So if you have questions, you want us to go over things, you have topic ideas, by all means, leave them down there. And if you have people that are into gaming podcasts like this, please let them know about it. I do, let's get some influence and let's actually get this around so we can grow a little bit more of a community, I think.
And if you want to hear that a-hole Jeremy, shut up. Just say so.
Or just get him another bottle, whatever.
Oh no,
No, that would make me talk more.
That's fuel for the rage.
All right. Well, I think that'll about do it. So everybody tune in next time. Thanks for stopping by and listening, and have yourselves a good evening.
Good night.
Later, everyone.